Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's tutorial. So in today's tutorial we'll be learning how to make the stylish rose sleeve. So if it's something you like to learn, let's get right into the video. So we'll start by drafting our basic long sleeve. I'm sure everyone can do this. So it's just a normal sleeve. So I worked with a sleeve of 24 and I actually added 2 inches to it. If you want to add 3 inches to it, it's completely fine, because by the time you start draping your rose, it will be short at a point. So the next thing we're going to do is to mark our elbow line just like so. So from your shoulder cap to your elbow, you're just going to mark, and it's advisable to make your shoulder cap a bit deep, just as you can see my sleeve. I think it works perfectly that way. So the next we're going to introduce a fresh paper just like so, and we're going to try to make a 180-degree flame. That's the easy way to explain this. So like making a triangular shape, just as you see me doing, just like so. You can see how it is. I actually made it unfold because of the tutorial, so if you want to use a single piece, it's completely fine. So like I said, you're just going to pick from one end to the sharp end where I'm pointing, just like so. Even if you're working directly on your material, you're just going to do it just like so. So the next thing now we're going to do, you can see how our cone sleeve now is. Next thing we're going to do is to introduce our sleeve, which we drafted out already. So we're just going to place the sleeve on it. You can see how I actually placed it. So the armhole side facing this other opening, you can see how it is. So I'm just going to hold down the sleeve to our freshly introduced paper, just like so. So it's not going to move around, and then I'm just going to trim out just like so. This is the only aim, because this other cone part is where we're actually going to shape, bring out our rose shape out from. So and we're going to cut it together to the sleeve, so that's why you see it like this. So when you cut your sleeve, please add your sewing allowance to it. So let me just mark that out so it's not confusing to some persons. So now we're just going to mark that part out just like so. Like I said, when you draft your sleeve, add your allowance to it. So you can see that my elbow line is exactly on the end. If you're having an excess on your cone, you're just going to trim out. It's no cause for alarm. So basically we've just drafted the sleeve out, and this sleeve is exactly what we are going to place on our fabric. You can see it unfold, and if you want to make it a single one, it's completely fine. So now I'm using lining for this tutorial, and what the thumbnail is actually showing is an Ashoke material. So just as we did for our freshly introduced paper, we're still going to try to throw a flay, 180-degree flay or 90-degree flay, whichever one, but you're just going to throw an angular shape just like so. And this other end that is closed on your drafted paper, you're just going to place it on the closed part, and this other armhole side, you can see how I actually placed the drafted paper on the lining. You can see how it is. So I'm just actually pinning down, so it's not stressful to work on. Sorry, my lining is actually rough, as at when I was drafting I had no power supply at that point. So now at this point, if you want to add excess to your cone parts, you can add at this point, but I think like this is completely fine, because your rose will still come out perfectly fine. So like I said, I had already added my allowance, but if you want to add, if you haven't added, you can add now your seam allowance at this point. So we're just going to notch, because that's where we're going to join it to our other bodies. So now the next thing we're going to do is to just take off our drafted paper just like so. So we'll be left with our main fabric. You can now see how it is. So now if you want your fabric to be strong, you can go ahead to add stay to it. At this point you can also line in at this point if you want to lining just on the same shape. So we're just going to go ahead and stitch at this point just like so. This part that I'm showing to you guys, we're just going to stitch. So this is what it looks like after stitching. So the midpoint, which we have the angular shape, we're just going to notch, and then you give it a very good press. Please do not follow just as mine is. I'm just doing this for the sake of the tutorial, since you'll be working on, you know, a client's attire. So you're just going to give it a very good press from the cone part to the end. You can see how it is like every other part. You give it a very good press. So we're just going to turn over to the right side. You can see that the cone part is actually closed. Where my hand is going is closed. You can see it's not open, so don't be confused. So we've closed that part. So like I said, you give it a very good press at that point, so it's not going to disturb you, just like so. So now the next thing we're going to do, you can see how it is. This is what it looks like exactly. This part I'm holding is where we're going to drip out our rose form. So I'm making a rough sketch because some persons it's easier to work from the top, but for me it's easier to work from the bottom. So now after doing it like this, it's just for me to see my base that I'll be dripping on. So we'll be using a lot of pin, but when you're working on your main material, where I'm holding with pin, you'll be tacking. You hold with pin at first and then you are going to tack. So you can see how I am pleating at this point to form my rose shape. Now at this cap end, you can see why I actually said it's advisable to add a cap, a top cap to it, so it will look as if you're making a pickup, or should I say like a sleeve that has an hanging shoulder. You can see how it is. By the time you're dripping, it's going to enter in completely. So you're just going to drip gradually. By the time you pleat rather, by the time you pleat on your first line, you pin, and then you go to the second line. You just keep pinning and pinning, and by the time you're doing it, you see it's easy. It's not difficult, but you don't have to rush it. You have to take your time. It can be a bit stressful, a little bit stressful, because sometimes after working on this side, you see that it's not corresponding with this other side. So you just continue pleating just like so, and you'll be holding with your pin. And when you have your stay on it, it will be firm. It will be very strong. Mind you, like on the thumbnail, the material used there was an Ashoke material. You know that Ashoke is very strong. So if you're working with Ankara, please add an stay to it. So you can see how it is, like how I have pleated. So now this is what the top part looks like. You're just going to pleat gradually. And I actually started from the bottom because it works easier like that for me. So you can see that our rose shape completely is out. You can see how it is at this point. So you still just try and make little adjustments here and there, like it's just a continuous adjustment. And if you're working on it on your bride, even on that day, you can just adjust everywhere to sleep very. By the time you tack it, you see that it's just going to correspond accordingly. That's why I said it's an easy sleeve to make, but it takes a lot of time and patience. So you just pleat around just like so. You just keep pleating. Like I said, I did not press my material, that's why it's looking rough. Please don't do yours like that. So at this point, this is what we have for now. This is what the back looks like. So if you do not want to make a lining from beginning, you can just make a lining and place on top of it, because your stay will be showing if you're not using an Ashoke. So the next thing, we're just going to go ahead and join our armhole to cover our sleeve rather, and this is what it's looking like. At this point, you just have a little rough work at this point, but do not panic. You just arrange it, press again, and you just make little adjustments. Adjust your sleeve. Like I said, remove pins from the parts you think that it's not set accordingly. You just pin again, or you just tack again. And when you're tacking, please neatly tack so your seam lines will not, your threads rather, will not be showing. So I was just trying to, you know, hold it down a bit. That's why you see me do that local feminist pattern. So you can see I'm just still trying to, you know, arrange. That's why I said when you join your sleeve and it's looking rough a bit, do not be frustrated. You did not get it wrong. That's how it is. So you're just still going to arrange. I know why I did not fast forward this part, so you see how it's looking. You can see how after arranging how the rose sleeve came out beautifully. So thank you so much guys for watching. I hope you try out this tutorial, and please follow me on my Instagram with the same handle, Learn with T. So bye for now.